Hey there everybody, this is a Doctor, and today Typical Manga Fan and I are actually only doing one episode of Typical Manga Review this week because there's only one series that updated. That's going to be Bleach, Chapter 619, The Betrayer. Whether this refers to a character at the end of the chapter, or Kubo for betraying all our hopes, is up to you.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he's not really betraying us because, you know, at this point, we should realize what we're getting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 619 chapters. I mean, at this point, we should know. Like,
Yeah.
It's our responsibility at this point.
That said, this chapter seems especially low.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way around that. It just does.
Didn't you give me like a Toriko comment where the guy's like, you know, at this point, did you literally expect nothing?
Yeah, I was actually trying to relocate that right now, actually, see if I could find it again.
Yeah,
I just couldn't remember where I found it from.
it.
I couldn't remember where I found it from, but yeah, okay.
Okay, so I think what you tweeted me was, people still get disappointed in Bleach? Haven't the years made you expect literally nothing yet?
Yeah.
And it's true, like, it's just like, this is such a bad chapter.
It really
just because,
is.
okay, let's get into it then, let's do that.
Yeah, like I said, right now...
Okay, so...
Yeah, you go ahead, you start.
Alright, so Ichigo and Yubox just finished like clashing swords, and Yubox stands in the dust and smoke, and he's like, "Ichigo, I've never even once thought of doing as I please with you." Which answers the question of why.
Which leaves Ichigo very disappointed because he wanted some of that.
Yeah, and it actually answers the question of why Yubox never actually tries to like recruit Ichigo actively. I mean, there was this one time when he actually like thought he killed Ichigo. He's like, okay, might as well just turn him into our side. But you know, think about it. Like, Ichigo's a Quincy. Why is it that he recruited Uryu but didn't recruit Ichigo? Because Ichigo, didn't have Quincy training, maybe. Because he's still a power to be had. I mean, because if you can get Ichigo on your side, you got a big boost to your army.
You know, I just had a thought right there. Could it be because Uryu isn't Uryu kind of like only a impure Quincy in some way, but the only one to survive?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's a half Quincy, but he actually survived my purge, so that makes him worthy. And Ichigo survived too, and so did his sisters. But especially Ichigo. Is it because of his Shinigami powers that he's kind of like, I don't want him, or Hollow powers? Because Hollow and Shinigami are basically impure to Quincy's, especially Hollow.
It could be Iwaka's attributing that to Ichigo's resistance to that. Even if incorrectly or not, it's up to in the air, but...
Yeah. Anyway, so, Yuboshi is like, okay, so do you follow? Because that is because there's no need to even think about it. Your will is everything. It is connected to my will. So basically he's saying that he didn't decide to control Ichigo, because in a way, Ichigo's been acting on his like, will the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And basically he explains it by saying that, what I'm saying is that you have been fighting all this time for me.
I'm responsible for everything ever.
Yeah, no, let me say exactly what he says. Okay, at least on the manga stream thing. When you awakened as a Shinigami, your fight was with yourself, battling to increase your own power, increasing your own power so that you could defeat Aizen Sasuke, and then you once again reclaim the power to defeat Aizen Sasuke, which you had lost by cutting down the Spirit King before my eyes. So basically, he's saying that everything that Ichigo's done, like kill fight Grand Fisher, like defeat Aizen, and regaining his powers, was all because Yuobak wanted that to happen. It was all because of Yuobak's plans, which is exactly what Aizen said to Ichigo.
Almost word
exactly.
for word.
Like, because there was this time, if you guys remember, Aizen said, "I have been planning everything you have done literally since the day you were born, or even before that, actually, was done under my own plans. Like everything you did was because of me."
Of course, we do see here in the flashbacks at the early part of this arc that was mostly just a fluke.
Yeah.
Like Aizen wasn't planned at all. He was just thrilled in fact, he was thrilled about the fact that he didn't predict it.
Well, I mean, actually, what he said was he didn't predict Ichigo getting conceived, but I think after he got conceived, it was like, okay, now I know what to do with you. And so ever since Ichigo was born, he kind of like, okay, now he planned everything. But now it's like Yubox is basically taking the credit from Aizen, which is kind of ridiculous because it's kind of like. Because it's been used before. This is ridiculous. Like, the previous villain said exactly the same thing. He said that everything that Ichigo did was, specifically with Aizen, Aizen said that he made sure that Ichigo fought all those battles was so that for Ichigo to get stronger because he was basically his little experiment. He wanted to see how strong Ichigo could become, and so he planned all those fights like Grand Fisher, like the Espada, like the Shinigami captains, right? That was all because of Aizen. At least that's what Aizen said. And now Yu-Bog's like, nope, that wasn't Aizen at all. It was me. I was the one who made you fight all those battles, which is again really repetitive, really stupid, and I cannot believe Kubo made him copy Aizen in that manner.
I know.
Now there's like I didn't think he would say something like that because it's such a dumb. First off, the entire concept of a villain planning out everything like that to kind of like devalue the hardships of Ichigo or the main character is really stupid.
Yes.
But to have the villains copy each other in doing so, it's even more ridiculous.
Almost consecutively too.
Yeah.
I mean, and anyway, like I said, on the next page we have Aizen. I'm sorry, Ewok, telling Ichigo that without even having to think about it. No matter what you may think, everything you have done was with my consent, all of it, and it's because you and I, Ichigo, we have the same blood flowing through our veins.
Wait. So here's the question I have.
Yeah.
So Aizen gets the excuse because Aizen was actually conscious during all that time when Ichigo was fighting. Yubak was sealed the entire time, wasn't he?
More or less, he was just conked out. He is not a morning person at all.
Is he referring specifically to the little Yubak inside of Ichigo as the Zangetsu? Is that what he's referring to? Because then he has a point. Because then he has a point because that quote unquote Yubak did actually have to do with everything that Ichigo did.
Now there he might have a point. Yeah, you might have a point.
But at the same time, that Zangetsu also said that he wanted to prevent Ichigo from getting killed as much as possible, and that he diverged from what Yubak wanted. So he became like he also said like I was trying to hold that.
Does Yubak know that?
Well, shouldn't he? Because if they're connected, right? Well, they should, right? Because Yubak would. How would Yubak take credit if he wasn't connected to that little Yubak that's on Getsu?
Do you really think that's going to stop him?
I don't know. I think the problem here is that I'm using logic, which is a bad thing to do in Bleach.
That is very true.
But it's the only we're reviewers. We have to use logic. Otherwise, what are we doing then?
Right. I mean, it's kind of sad that if you think about it, we can more accurately read the logic of someone like Kenpachi than we can Yubak.
Kenpachi just wants to kill people.
Exactly.
He wants to be the best, or not the best.
No, he doesn't even want to be the best. He wants to have the best fight.
Well, yeah, he wants to have the best fight, and to do so, he has to be the best. In fact, in order to have the best fight, he actually made himself weaker.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to have an enjoyable fight as much as possible.
Yeah.
So everything he does goes towards that goal. So you can usually see his reasoning if you follow that end.
Yeah. Although he's now wanting to become stronger because now he's realizing that he can't do that anymore. Like everyone's gonna be killing him at this point because everyone's getting stronger. So he would actually the fight would actually end quicker now because he's getting weak. If he's weaker than them, it wouldn't work. Like basically like the way it ended up with the fake Yubak.
All right. Anyway, where are we? Hang on. Oh,
he was like, "Shut up!"
Yeah. Aizen, I'm sorry. Yubak finally provokes Ichigo into attacking.
Are you doing this intentionally?
Yes.
Anyway, Ichigo says, "I don't give two shits about my Quincy blood," and as he's attacking him, I was gonna stop you, and then Yubak's like, "For what? I am your enemy. Am I not? Oh, what? I mean, what? Why do you say you'll stop me? What am I? I'm your enemy. What's this really weird phrasing? I'm your enemy. Am I not? It should be, am I your enemy? But you're not even, right?
Here's something I don't remember, like because I read the early version with Manga Pan the first, but this part is actually kind of a neat little line here. Like, for you to not even be able to utter the word "kill" to the man who murdered your mother, that is proof of your weakness, Ichigo.
I like how he said Ichigo, like to mock him. And Ichigo's like pissed off, and then suddenly someone strikes. Okay, this is ridiculous. This is the second time a powerful person gets struck in the back without them knowing.
And this time it's Yoruichi. It wasn't her squad the assassin squad, the ones who specialize in doing exactly that?
Exactly. Like, so Yoruichi gets struck behind by Quincy Arrow, which is ridiculous because this is exactly what happened to Uruhara when he didn't notice that Kirjay was like still alive. Which is like, aren't you supposed to be like trained like assassin, trained Shinigami, so you'd notice that stuff? Like, so that this is supposedly the reason why attacks from behind never work in Bleach, because when you get powerful enough, you notice when they're like behind you. Right. So like, this is ridiculous. I guess this is long range, but still, you can at least notice the arrow. Yeah,
even if it's just a split second, it's usually going to be enough for them.
So, as it turns out, the guy who shot the arrow was Ryu.
Yes.
In his Nazi clothing, too.
Looking stylish there, buddy.
Yeah. I'm sure all the Jewish people would love that.
Yeah.
And then Bleach. No, I was about to say Bleach. Ichigo.
I wonder if there are people who call Ichigo Bleach.
Ichigo's like, oh my, Ishida, and then a door suddenly appears behind. No, not a door. The ceiling. The ceiling thing that she was trying to hold the Soul King together with is breaking apart because I guess she lost her concentration.
Right.
And then it's breaking apart and explodes basically, which is not good. But I think he's still alive because the world isn't ending. So she's trying to like basically recover the pieces, literally. And you know, Ichigo's just like, what the hell, Uryu? And then basically, I think Yobok just like pushes Ichigo away.
Bitch slap.
And it's like a bitch push actually, like bitch palm.
There we go.
And then he comes closer to the Soul King, and then you know Yorichi's trying to basically attack him with balls. Whatever the first balls hit, the second balls would disintegrate. That sounds a lot like Soifon's attacks, but okay.
Well, actually, I mean, think about it. Soifon idolizes her, so that could make sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah. The hell? Yorichi doesn't... What the hell is Yorichi's Zanpakuto's ability? She hasn't even used it.
I don't think you're right. I don't think I've ever seen her use her Zanpakuto. It's always been just Kido or martial arts, isn't it?
She had that thing where she was attacking Aizen with like the metal parts around her arms. Mm-hmm. But like that would have been awesome if that was a Shikai, because it would have made perfect sense. A sword, an ability that emphasizes hand-to-hand combat, because that's what she does more than half the time. Actually, all the time.
Right. And we know she's no Bankai because she's the one who invented that 3-day technique with Urahara.
Yeah, well, and she definitely has a Bankai, because remember, the only one who doesn't have Bankai, who's a captain, in all of history, was Kenpachi, the 11th Kenpachi, was Kenpachi Zaraki. Everyone else has a Bankai, so her being captain means that she has a Bankai.
Right.
And then, okay, so as she's throwing the balls, something appears behind her in a cloak, and you can see the eyes, and it basically destroys her arm, which is pretty bad.
Yes.
Think of it like...
it's like it twists it.
I feel like I've seen this before in Bleach, but I know that it's been done in anime that I've seen, but like it's kind of weird. But so basically, it just like destroys her arm by twisting it to like shreds. But so she's like, "What the hell?" And then
at that moment, Yewok bitch palms her off the tower.
Yeah, bitch palm. And then you know, Orihime's like, "Holy shit, Yorichi! What am I gonna do? Because I don't know anything, and I'm useless, and I'm a piece of shit, and I'm better off dead. And why the hell am I here?" Even my voice actress called me out on being useless.
I still can't get over that.
Yeah, that because that never happens. Voice actors and voice actors never turn on their characters.
I mean, even the villainous ones, I would think. I mean, because really, it could be fun to play the villain.
And also, it's contractual. You can't say bad stuff about your character.
Yeah.
So the fact that she actually went out to say it was kind of funny, or tweet it was funny. Yeah. So Ichigo's like, what? The eye thing. So Aizen, I think not Aizen. I was about to say Aizen too.
I've got you doing it. Yes. Now I've got you doing it.
I bet you. I bet you. This is ridiculous. I bet you a bog. I think he's about to touch the eye, right?
Yeah.
He's the eye, and then Ichigo starts to strike him behind, which we all know never works.
Right.
And then, crap, an arrow again that Ichigo has to avoid. Block.
Yep.
And Yobok's like, well done, Uryu. And then he rips off Mimihagi from the Soul King. And then everyone's like, oh shit, the earthquake's back. And then you can see that the Soul Palace is about to crumble, and Chad and Ganju are just standing there. And then Uryu's like, do not interfere with His Majesty. What else? Kurosaki. And then Ichigo's like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Ishida! Yesterday friends are today's enemies. And then on the title page is actually the last page in this case. The Betrayer.
That's the smallest title page in a while, actually.
It is. And then we get a picture. And then we get a picture of fan art stuff.
Say what you will. At least this chapter had a lot going on.
It did, but
I mean, too bad it's mostly too bad most of it's mostly just rehash of stuff we've seen already with Aizen.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much, which is I want to see just a conversation between Aizen and your boss. It's like
I both dread and anticipate that moment.
It's interesting. I want to see what Kubo can come up with because it's such a weird situation.
I wonder if they'll do that thing like Kakashi and Zabuza did, where they start speaking at the same time and the exact
you
same
know what's
exact
hilarious?
same
You know what's hilarious? I actually was about to say that. I literally was about to say that. I was thinking of Kakashi copying with the Sharingan.
Yeah.
But the difference between that is that one of them actually has the other on the ropes when it comes to that, whereas I think with Aizen and Yubak, one of them won't be the dominant one. I think they'll be equal. At least for... Because can you just imagine... I mean, Aizen got bitch slapped by Ichigo a lot in the stupid Deus Ex Machina fight. But if you think Aizen, like, talks to Yubak, who do you think will be the dominant, quote-unquote, talker?
Well, I've always proclaimed that Aizen is in love with the sound of his own voice, so he knows how to use it. Otherwise, I don't know. Yubak has this thing where he seems charismatic, but he's also just like a big old monster. I don't know.
It's really... I don't know. Yubak is... I don't know. Yubak is just a weird villain. He's just so... It's like he's Aizen, but like with a Jesus complex. I mean, but Aizen also wanted to become God, but at least he admitted like I'm not God yet. I will be God though. With Yubak, he's like no. I'm not gonna will be God. I am God.
Yep. So if nothing else, Yubak wins in ego.
I mean, it's just like the thing about Yubak that I always thought was disturbing was how much he was willing to kill his own minions. Not even because they fail. Just because he feels like it.
Right.
Like even when he kills them, even when they succeed. That's the weird part. Like
yeah, because Aizen, he would throw their lives away, but he never actually killed them unless they specifically did something to provoke it.
And then there was that. I know he does. I know that the Hollows don't give it. I mean, not the Quincy's don't give a shit about Arankars. But I remember when one of the Arankars was like, he made this thing. So he's like, oh yeah, you guys like die in 10 days. And then Yubak's like, oh, why do you say that? Are you a prophet? And basically he was using like he was basically talking the Arankar into basically like saying into a corner basically, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, and he shoots his legs out. He's like, okay, I allow you to sit or kneel. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, are you gonna kneel before me? Oh, no, sorry, I would never do that. It's like, dude, that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he talks him into a corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy's are in a lose-lose situation. There's nothing they can do to prevent Yubak from killing them. Yubak probably like decided to kill him the moment he entered the room.
Right. Or he just decided at that exact moment for no other reason.
Like, I don't like people say, oh, that's because he's a villain. He's supposed to do that. You're not supposed to understand evilness or something. Like, no. That villains, just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean what you do makes no sense. Like, it just, when you have that happen, it literally makes no sense. It doesn't make you hate them. It makes you just feel weirded out and disturbed, but not in a good way. In a way where you're just like, you don't feel for the villain. I mean, like, in the sense that you don't like the villain in for his role. Like Aizen, for example, as much as we like to hate on Aizen,
right?
Everything Aizen did was logical. It made sense. So we saw him as
up until the very end there, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So you saw him as like a villain who we feared, but also respected because we said, "Oh, this is a great villain." Yeah. With Yubak is just like, what is this guy like?
Yes. Like I said, my only things with Aizen were that he seemed to be way too overpowered for what he was doing, and like I said, a common complaint I've seen leveled at him was like his apparent lack of strategy with the whole Karakura town battle, where he just pretty much got his big old army that he's going to spend the entire season preparing for, and just let them get killed without really caring about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely that's the case. But and also the thing about Aizen was that he never used his ability on Ichigo. And here's the issue: like, Aizen was so powerful, right? Mm-hmm. That you have to wonder yourself, like, how is this guy gonna get beat? And then they actually made a great weakness where if you grab the hilt, then you wouldn't have that problem.
Right. How Gin got him.
Yeah, and same thing with that's how you get Tosin too.
That's true. Come to think of it, hey, he actually foreshadowed something. Go figure.
Not to mention that's Tosin was also with the senses as well.
Yeah.
But the big part about that was that I don't know if that was intentional foreshadowing though. I think he just realized, oh, hey, look, this is what I did with Tosin. Maybe I can do this with Aizen too.
Well, hell, I mean, I'm not going to hold that against him. That's still pretty good work there. I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure Oda's done that a few times, so I'm not going to knock someone else for doing it.
I think it's just too far apart to really make a connection.
Yeah.
But anyway, to grab, and also grabbing the hill is a big thing to do. Like, you have to get close to him, which I don't think he'll let you do. But yeah, I think both Yamamoto, and Yamamoto also did something too, where he just grabbed the guy and said, you can do all these illusions, but I grabbed you, so you're here, you can't move. I don't know if he grabbed the hilt too, but he did grab something. He grabbed because Aizen stabbed him. He grabbed I forgot if he grabbed his arm or his hilt, but Yamamoto also did a pretty good thing where he you know what, no matter how strong you are, no matter what illusion you can come up with, you're in my blast radius. You can't escape this.
Yeah.
And so with Aizen, that was a great way to beat him. But Ichigo just Ichigo just bulldozes through him. He doesn't even use any tactics. It's just outright power, which is stupid.
Well, that's what he's always done.
Yeah, but that's what makes Ichigo so damn not interesting. If he actually used some type of tactical knowledge, I don't know, grabbing, it's just I was expecting a better fight than what I saw, and Aizen didn't even use his Bankai.
Yeah, and plus, if you think about it, his father should have been able to tell him about the whole. Might have at least been able to suspect or tell him about the weakness. I would have believed it if he'd known about it.
Yeah, or if it could be easily common weakness. I mean,
yeah. For Sensei's Zanpakuto.
Yeah, I mean, and hell, Kubo could come up with a lot of things there, and I would have accepted it because at that point I was willing to accept anything. But yeah, Aizen, Aizen obviously still has his abilities, but I see the thing is though, Yubok, it's the same thing with Yubok. Yubok has some weaknesses, especially if you have to do with the Soul King, right? If this Mimihagi was able to evade Yubok's prediction ability, yeah. But I just these villains are so overpowered that you wonder yourself how the hell did they beat him? But in the end, you realize what he's just gonna get really powerful to the point where he's just gonna slash Yubok 10 times and he dies. That's what's gonna happen. There's no tactic, no ability weakness. It's just gonna become so powerful and so strong that he just beats Yubok like a normal fight.
The best I expect to happen is that somebody else's tactics might wear him down and then leave him open for Ichigo to finish him off. That's the best I expect at this point.
Not even Kishimoto did that. You're thinking too high, because remember, with Madara, you thought that guy would have done something, but nope. Madara's just I'm gonna heal immediately from that. So it's I never did anything.
But still, really, I thought he did take some damage from Guy.
He did. No, he did, but then Madara healed himself 200% right after that.
Okay.
You remember his entire left side of his body was destroyed and melted by Guy, and he's just oh, okay, I'm gonna heal myself now, and he goes back to normal. Man,
I forget that, but at the same time, around that point, I wasn't paying strictest attention. As I find that doing these reviews, I'm paying a lot closer attention to what's going on in these chapters now, for better or for worse in these cases. I'm actually paying closer attention before I might have just skimmed over the chapter for a few moments.
Yeah, well, I just think that at this point, even though there's a lot more content in this chapter, Kubo needs to, I don't know. I asked for more content, which is what I got, but can it be good content, please? Please? Okay, so also the last thing I want to note was that Uryu. Why is Uryu betraying everyone? Because this title chapter is obviously about him. Okay, I think I said before we started, I said something why would Uryu I asked why would Uryu betray everyone, because if you think about it, I compared Uryu to Gin when it came to Aizen and Yubok. Right. Uryu to Yubok is Gin to Aizen, where he's basically following his orders the entire time, and literally at the last minute he turns on him. Especially with Gin, where you kind of expected it, but you kind of didn't. Right. Okay, why does guy
he's always been kind of he's always had the look of a traitor on him.
Yeah, but that's for what reason though?
Well, partly the red herring, the whole Aizen reveal in the first place. Yeah,
but he was still a bad guy. That was the thing. It's okay, he's still a bad guy, but what's his deal? And it's because of Rankiku, which is kind of stupid, because he's wow, you really you were about to destroy half of the world and all society to get back right. Do you think Rankiku's going to say thank you? I mean,
that's not the first time we've seen something like that. So I won't. Again, that's one of the things I can't knock, because we see it enough that that's not such a horrible motive, or at least even if the methods are horrible.
Well, it's just he would have killed. There was a point where he could have killed many people, and actually would have had it not been for a last minute intervention by someone else. So, and anyway, so I was thinking, is Uryu doing the same thing? Is he basically following Yubok's orders until the last minute, where he basically betrays Yubok? Because then, at first off, that'd be copying again. So, wow, way to go for originality, man. You basically copying yourself again.
Yeah. And I don't even think he really ever had much to do with Gin, so it's not like you could say he got the idea from him.
Yeah, and the thing is though, like, and also, I mean, why would he follow Yubok? Why would he betray everyone? Because, there's not there's not really a good reason. I mean, this guy killed your mom. Is he being brainwashed? I don't think so. Like, in fact, Hashwell implied that he wasn't being brainwashed because even Hashwell was surprised that Uryu actually said yes.
Yeah, and more on the whole copycat thing is that Yowak seems to think he's got Uryu trapped in some kind of psychological trap like Ulquiorra did with Orihime.
There was no psychological. But
Well,
Orihime was never actually.
Well, in Uryu's case, by promoting him like to the Sternritter A, to be a successor, he's pretty much got the entire Quincy army keeping an eye on him out of either ambition, jealousy, or what have you. So it might be more of a thing on his men, but
with Orihime though, I never really saw it because Orihime never listened to Ulquiorra.
right.
Like Ulquiorra said all this bullshit, but then Orihime like, no, I'm not gonna listen to you. And Orihime is a weak person anyway. She's very weak-willed, not like Uryu at all. So I don't think it'll work. Like, is Uryu like? What is he hoping? Is he hoping for when Yubok passes on powers that Uryu thinks that he's gonna destroy everyone, destroy the Quincy's because by then he'll have the power to be able to do so?
Yep.
Like, I see. That's what I don't get. Like, what is this whole succession thing? Why is Yubok trying to get a successor? Because if you think about it, first off, destroying the whole world kind of ruins the point of that. Two, if Yubok is all about himself, like if his ego is like over like 1,000 levels, then why is he even trying to find a successor and give someone else his abilities? Like, there's so many weird things and so many confusing things that I just, because you gotta ask the question, why would Uryu do this? There's no way Uryu is brainwashed, and there's no way he's really on Yubok's side, because then that just destroys Uryu as a character, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, he's got too many motives to be against him for that to be believable.
Yeah, it's not like he's a new character that came out of nowhere, so you never really knew about him. No, we knew about him. We knew that we seen him, throughout all those arcs in the Soul Society and the Hollow, and we knew he was genuinely concerned for his friends. We knew he cared about his friends, and we knew that you could see his reaction when when Ichigo became the Hollow. You could see you basically realized that this is a it was like it's like Renji. You know this guy's a good guy.
Yeah.
So it makes no absolute sense for him to actually do this without an ulterior motive.
Right. Problem is, he's not doing a very good job of showing off that ulterior motive to anybody who would be able to help him with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously it's a one-man job, and one begs the question of what the hell is his dad doing at this point,
Right.
And also, why
he is also Quincy, though not necessarily like one by choice, if I remember that right.
The thing about his dad is that his dad's a full-blooded Quincy, so this is the guy who Yubok would want on his team, right? Supposedly.
Yeah. And no wonder, like I said, one thing I do wonder about with some of these so-called full-blooded Quincy among the Sternritter, how many of them were actually Quincy before all of this started? Do you know? Like, were they recruited because Yubok was coming back, or have they always had it in part of their bloodline, like the Yoshidas did?
I think the history with Asno kind of implies that that before Yubok came back, none of them were Quincy's. They just had the blood, and then Yubok decided to teach them all or give them the powers and had them like train really hard. Because he, I don't know, like we only know the history of Asnote, but if they share the same history with Asnote, then that's what it implies. Same thing with the visionary guy, Grammy. He was just the brain in a jar. So my guess is that all of them were in really bad situations, quote, fallen from grace, kind of like the devil, right? And then so he just brought them out of that situation, which is probably why they revere him so much. And then so that's what the Quincy's obviously, like the Quincy's that we know now are pretty new. I think pretty much the last person who was actually from the Quincy, like of the Quincy culture, is the Ishida family, and that's his father, Ryukin.
Yeah, or at least another question that comes to mind though: are they really the Quincy culture, or are they like so far removed that it's like almost idealized?
Because remember, Soken Ishida, which is Iru's grandfather, was the only one who denied the Quincy's change, right? Because the Quincy's used to be different. Like, they used to have a different ability set and all that stuff. And keep in mind that Uru was the only one who was using arrows at this point. And remember, Ryukin lost the two women he loved to Yubok. He lost Masaki Kurosaki, who he was supposed to be married to, and then he lost his actual wife to Yubok. So Ryukin has every reason to hate Yubok.
Right.
Which is probably maybe why Yubok just decided not to go for him. And also,
yeah,
he's more mature and a lot more cultured than Uryu. I mean, so maybe that's why he's like, you know what, it's not worth having this guy, and he could actually be a threat to me, so let's not mess with him for now.
And you don't want to kill him right away because that might prompt him. That might prompt Uryu to act rashly.
Yeah, but that's also saying like Uryu's actually doing this of his own free will. Like, what's like the problem is we don't know why Uryu's doing this. Is his dad telling him to do this? Like, his dad telling him, okay, I want you to be a secret agent and a double agent and pretend to be part of this organization to keep an eye on them. Because I mean, like, that's one thing. Like, Uryu's been helping Uyabok, and Uryu hasn't been doing anything. So you could argue that other than to defend the Uyabok from Ichigo, which Uyabok needs to do himself, he actually hasn't done anything that would be considered to be bad.
Right. So he hasn't actually like acted out in such a way that like he's done something irredeemable at some point.
Like he didn't kill Rihime. Well, actually, no. Killing Rihime would be completely awesome, but if he didn't kill Yoriichi, for example, at least not yet. If he killed Yoriichi, I would break his ass. I don't care for what reason.
Well, I doubt he did anything serious. Like all he did was break her concentration. It's Yuak who did the most damaging attack here.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, again, we don't know. There's so much speculation, but what it comes down to is that Ryu is it's really hard to read what's going on here. Basically, there's too many possibilities. I mean, Kubo can come up with anything at this point.
Are you sure you don't mean Yuak?
Kubo.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be unfair. Because Aizen actually does plan stuff.
Yeah. So basically, what it comes down to is I don't see what Ryu's trying to do, and of the stuff that I do think that maybe he's going to betray Yubak at the very end. I just don't think there's much of a point. I just think it's kind of a stupid thing. Although it would make sense that I understand why they kept Ryu out because having Quincy on your side kind of makes it awkward.
Right.
And I guess the plot is Ryu joining kind of does in a way like was predictable. But because he was out for such a long time, and so it wouldn't make sense for him to be part of Ichigo's team if he was out for so long.
Right.
But at the same time, though, we don't really know the reason, so it's kind of a hard thing to really discern. But at the same time, though, if it turns out to be like Gin, then it's gonna be just copying, and it's just like Kubo, stop plagiarizing yourself. So what's happening is that Kubo is basically copying himself, and he's using the same formula over and over again, so it gets really boring. So even if we find out a really great reason for why Uryu did it, the fact that it's basically reminding me of Gin is kind of annoying.
Yeah, definitely on there.
So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay. Yeah, and like I said, that you pretty much covered everything I would have thought of myself at this point. There's not much for me to add on to this. I'm just kind of looking at the comments here now on the manga stream, and it's like, where was it? Oh yeah. Side note: Aizen apparently ain't dead shit.
I'm glad that someone else noticed this other than us, because I'm just like, wow, he's basically taking credit for my.
It's like, yeah, everyone claims that this was all my doing. Foo. Such BS. Like Ichigo shouldn't be surprised by this anymore. Should just say that's what the last bitch I killed said. And it's like, except he didn't kill the last bitch. But it's like, pretty much, even Kugo Ginjo manipulated Ichigo.
And remember that Aizen also said that he asked Ichigo, what reason do you have to fight me anymore? You rescued Orihime, and you have no loyalty to the Soul Society. Like, you have no connection to them. So why are you helping them out? And Yubok said the same exact thing.
Right.
Where it's like, you have no reason to fight me. You've done what you needed to do, whatever. So like, or the Soul King. Oh yeah, the Soul King's dead, so you can't really do anything about that. Aizen told Ichigo like, you have no reason to fight me anymore. You have no connection to the Soul Society. And then Yubok goes on and says, you have no reason to fight me anymore. The Soul King's dead, so you have no reason to fight for the Soul Society. Sounds similar?
Yep. Pretty much. I mean, and in both cases, like, pretty much Ichigo's loyalty to Soul Society or lack of is really irrelevant.
Yeah, and Ichigo says himself, he's like, I don't care. I'm going to stop you because you're going to destroy the world, and I don't think that would be good. And
that's bad, okay?
Yeah, and Taking 101, who was another reviewer, even called Kubo out on this, saying, look, you can't be repetitive like that. It's so generic, And so I'm getting pissed off because Kubo is he's making more money than a lot of mangakas at this point, and a lot of mangakas I feel are more creative than him, but they just didn't get the popularity because they weren't as lucky.
Or there may just be too new or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And they didn't get the start because when Kubo started out, he was the first. Well, I think he was the first of the big three, right? No, he's the last. He was the last.
Yeah, I think Oda was the first because I know Oda was the first, or at least before Naruto, because Sanji would have been named Naruto if Naruto hadn't come out.
Yeah. So I think it was Naruto was the first, right?
No. No. Well, Naruto at least predates Sanji.
Okay.
If not One Piece itself.
Okay. So maybe Naruto that came out.
Yeah.
But anyway, the big thing is that it's just that it kind of pissed me off because then he had a good start, which is good, but he didn't do much with it, and that's what pissed me off. That maybe a lot of mangakas have good starts, but maybe because the big three shoving down, taking up the top spots, they're not getting enough exposure, or maybe they have okay starts, but then have great continuations. But they just can't get there because they never got the initial popularity. Because what it all
double
all
arts.
It's all about getting double arts. It's all about getting the initial popularity. Once you get there, no matter what you do, you're never gonna lose it. Because there are people who literally defend Bleach to this day. Think of the dumbest thing possible for Ichigo to do, for Bleach to do.
We don't have to. It's already there.
Yeah, but just something that just even beats Bleach, for example. Maybe Aizen. It turns out that Ichigo's a girl who was actually the daughter of the Soul King, and was actually the sister. I'm changing the gender just for the hell of it. And then Orihime is actually his mother, his real mother. Just something like that. That's ridiculous, right?
Okay.
There will be fans who will defend that and think it's a good plot twist. I'm not even kidding. There will be fans who will do that. It's the dumbest. I literally came out at the top of my head. I came up with the worst possible things that happened. Ichigo's not a guy; he's a girl, because a lot of people like switching genders for some reason.
And Ichigo is a gender-neutral name.
Yeah, and his power relies from the strawberry, which his mother used to give him when he was a kid.
And he wears strawberry panties.
Yeah. I mean, we get ridiculous here, but that's the thing. We could, if Kubo did this, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe he got high one day, or for the week, and he published it, and the editor got high too for whatever reason. There will be fans who will literally think it's a good plot twist, not because they actually believe it's a good plot twist, but because they're so deluded in thinking that Kubo's a great writer at this point that it would destroy their reality if they admitted that what Kubo did was bad.
Yep.
Because these people just don't grow up. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so that's me calling out on Bleach on the Bleach diehard fans, because honestly, you're free to have your own opinion, but when you defend bullshit, it makes you seem stupid.
Yeah, and I haven't really looked at the Bleach fandom recently, mostly because, given our reviews, I don't think it's a safe idea to be near them. But honestly,
there are manga streams comments. A lot of them are manga streams comments.
Yeah, even the first one on there says you follow it just because you want to know how it ends at this point.
Yeah, that's the reason why I hate leaving a story half-assed, no matter how bad it gets.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, if it's already out, the ending's already out, then I can just skip the end. But that's not the case. So I'm reading it for the sake of just trying to finish it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that's about all I have to say.
Yeah, so you're pretty much covering a lot of the stuff here, so I don't really need to add too much to it at this point. Right. Beyond point and counterpoint, anyway, or a little bit of devil's advocate.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, like I said, if that's all, then we'll just wrap it up here, I guess. This has been the typical manga review for Bleach, chapter 619, The Betrayer, who it turns out is Uryu. Boo, maybe. We don't know yet. We'll see.
Boo Kubo. That's all I'll say. Boo for Kubo. Stop using the same damn formula.
Boobo. Anyway, we got that all done. Go ahead and take us away.